Welcome to A Differentiated Life, Session 8. I'm Kathryn Kissel, I'm a counselling psychologist, and during this time when we're all confined to our homes, I've decided to offer regular therapy sessions via Facebook as my way of supporting the wider community. My clinical approach is all about enhancing our differentiation. So my videos think about a live issue that we're facing and offer some practical tools to help you take a step towards a differentiated life. So today's challenge is what to do when you're used to organising things your way and now your partner keeps undermining you. When we live together in a space with our partner, we tend to fall into patterns of activities. You might have the cook, the cleaner, the gardener, the activity coordinator, or the IKEA furniture assembler. When children come into the equation, the roles can become even more pronounced. Perhaps one takes more responsibility for the child than the other. There might be one partner in particular who knows the timetable of homework, of clubs and friends, and the other will be on catch-up. It may even be that one partner ends up kind of having the domain of the house, whereas the other seems to be more outside in the world. And as I think about this period of lockdown, it feels a little bit like enforced early retirement. Suddenly, everyone is in the same space. And even when retirement is planned, that transition is not always straightforward. With lockdown, there's been no notice, there's no activities that we can escape to, and suddenly we're stepping on each other's toes, and that's not just metaphorically. The particular way you like to organise your day or load the dishwasher or your parenting approach is now directly contradicting theirs. And in this period of uncertainty and pressure, we're more likely to snap at ludicrous things anyway. But also, we're under increased vulnerability. One of you may be facing losing your job, or you may have a sick family member, and you may be trying to bind those feelings by being more controlling or problem solving. In this period, small niggles can become big problems. It can feel like your partner is undermining you. And our default position can be triangling. This is the emergency triangle from our car. We use it in case of breakdown, and it's rather like our use of triangles in our lives. We use them in an emotional emergency. We get annoyed at our partner, and the easiest route out is to complain about them to someone else. A quick text message to your friend, a phone call to your mum, complaining about your partner to your kids. Doesn't that feel good? All of a sudden the irritation drops, like air escaping from a balloon or the AA man turning up. You feel closer to the person you've just shared it with, like you're in it together. Unfortunately, there's a payoff. Like other ways of binding our anxiety, it doesn't actually solve the problem. The AA man can't actually fix your car. Triangling purely reduces the uncomfortable emotions that you feel, and it can actually create additional problems. By pulling your mum or your child on side for you, here we are, you force a greater distance between them and your partner. You place your partner in the outside position when you guys get close. Your child or your mum's relationship with your partner gets confused, and it creates allegiances and sides. We force a greater distance between them and the partner. And when triangle is used repeatedly, it can create a wedge between them, and it can cause a breakdown in relationship. All that could stem from annoyance you had with your partner about the fact they hadn't started the painting of the bedroom like they promised. So how can we survive lockdown and keep our relationships intact in spite of the reality of ongoing irritations by the other half? The main focus is to try and develop our capacity to have one-on-one relationships with our partner to create a new reality. to avoid creating a triangle, but talking directly to each other. The balance of our lives have changed, and we need to create new ways of being together. And this might involve compromise and change on both sides. It may even offer the opportunity for a crucible moment, to bring your partner back in from the outside position into the middle. In a family, it may be that your partner's usually out all day at work and hardly gets to see the kids. This is an amazing opportunity to reimagine parenting and share it together, to learn from them as much as you might want them to learn from you. And I know this is easier said than done. I know when we're in an emergency state, you see, we can't think creatively and we can't listen without bias. David Olson and Erin Berlanga-Freer, in their book Renewing Their Relationships, which I have here, talks about dropping the pictures that we create about our other half, the caricature images that emerge particularly when times are tough. The negative ones might be, oh, he's lazy, she's self-absorbed, he's controlling, she's overly sensitive. And if we try and have conversations based on those images, it's almost bound to fail. So instead, when we've hit that emergency, when we feel like we want to put in that third person triangle just to reduce the pressure, I want to encourage you to stop and find a pace of calm. Use some mindfulness resources. Go for your daily walk. Watch a funny TV program that just snaps you out of it. Do something different. And when you feel calm, think about what the problem is, what you really want to solve, what's the difficulty, what's your position, what's that car that feels broken, and then connect and assume that your assumptions about your partner are wrong. Try and find a way to listen with curiosity and unknowing. Say less, ask more questions. If we're able to keep the conversation open and curious and calm, we're much more likely to be able to find a creative way forward that doesn't just bind the anxiety that we feel, but actually solves the problem that caused the anxiety in the first place. But to get there, you may need to try and create a healthy triangle. This is where we share our problem with another as a way of processing the issue, not offloading it. Where we take responsibility for our side of the problem and we use the conversation to constructively identify possible ways to resolve the issue. A healthy triangle can enable us to reach our wise mind, the powerful combination of a thinking mind and an emotional mind put together, which will enable us then to go and have that face-to-face conversation with our partner. But I would suggest you don't use your children for this type of processing because it's too much pressure for them. Find a thoughtful friend or family member who doesn't ratchet the emotion up, but can think with calmness and clarity. Now, there are lots of other ways we use triangles to manage our discomfort. And of course, we can find ourselves pulled into someone else's triangle as that third person. And we can end up being given the stress that belongs to the other two. But that's for another time. Today, it's thinking about how are you drawn to triangling? When do you want to reach out and bind your anxiety with another by talking to another rather than addressing the problem that's facing you? I wish you all the best as you explore and experiment with how you use triangles, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. So do leave a message below. And if you're finding these videos helpful, do share them with your friends. See you next session.